different kinds of planning from different level. Remember, we have the top, the board of directors, the board of executives. So they are, we'll talk about the vision, mission, right? Develop the strategy, right? Called strategic planning. And then the middle manager, we needed to do the tactical planning. Then you can understand that the tactical planning is tactics, okay? This is the tactics. The tactics is to serve the strategy, right? To achieve the strategic or the strategies, to achieve the strategy, to achieve the strategic goals. Lower level, we call this operational planning. It's more like we have different functions like HR, training, right? Procurement department, sales department, whatever, those different departments. For each of the function, we have all our own tactics. The tactics is trying to support the strategy. The first line manager, they just focus on the daily job. They just focus on the very specific process, right? Like how long it takes to finish, to complete an order, how long they deliver the products is executed by the first line manager. But the activities are executed by the employee. Strategy and then tactics from China, okay? But they call this like a military term. Strategy describes the destination and how you are going to get there, all right? The goal is there, show you the direction. Tactics is more specific or more detailed, describe the specific action you are going to take along the way. Simply speaking, the steps, right? The strategy is go there, all right, go there. And then the tactics is steps, how to get there, all right? Usually, as I said, that the strategy planning is belong to the top manager. When you started to talk about strategy, that means you're already a top manager, one of the top managers, right? But if you are talking about something regarding the tactics, the steps, the specific action, you are a middle manager. Department heads are the middle manager, right? So now you understand this. I mean, usually the people started with very theoretical, right, definition. What is strategy? What is the tactics? I was the middle manager, so I work on this tactics. When we talk about this different levels of planning corresponding to our managerial positions, high level, middle level, low level, or first line, right? Strategic plan can be very long, very comparatively long range. Operational planning can be short range. In general, yes. So because like a tactic somehow can be also very short. Previous company, we call the sales team, right? The sales team, we set up the target, we set up the, in the next, couple of weeks or months, we want to have like a new customer acquisition, plan. This is very short, similar to the, the operation. So planning, operational planning, we also try to separate them from this, day-to-day, as we call it, the standing planning, right? They give a new term, or like a single-use plan. I mean, this is the day-to-day, just routine, right? I like to call this like a routine, the routine activity, okay? And then you can follow the SOP on the daily basis. And then there's a single-use plan. I like to call this is more like a project. Sometimes they call program. Forget about program. All right. Program is a series of different projects put together. A big project, we call this program. But usually projects is enough. We have the project plan, right? Different levels. Strategic plan, and then this tactical plan, and then also this operational planning. We all needed the project. Big level, and then you will have the big project, and then you will have usually we call a work package, right? Not a small, but like a sub project, we call it the work package. It depends on the level. I mean, who initialize or who is responsible. I mean, in this sense, they just call this, okay, the routine day to day, right? And then the one time is called the project. Okay, time frame. This is the easy one. Long range, shorter range, intermediate range. So actually, we already said in general, strategic planning, long, operational planning, short. But if we talk about project, that means low-level project, short, high-level project, very long. Like Costco, they expanded to China. So at least it's a intermediate planning or intermediate, let's say that I thought to skip this section, but yeah, let's have a very brief, right? Very brief, let's say, explanation regarding this so-called contingency planning. So actually, we just mentioned about the strategic planning, tactical planning, operational planning. That's already enough. There will be always something like unexpected. So they use this contingency planning. So actually, it is very difficult to identify the contingency event. You don't know what will happen, but the crisis is a different thing, all right? Every company or every organization, we should have a so-called crisis planning. But for other things, I would more use the project management, right, to explain that. The project management models. We have this so-called the initializing phase. We have the design phase. This initializing and then this design phase, implementation or realization, and then the closing phase. And then this realization together, it's the implementation and then monitoring. I like to use this controlling. Actually, this is, for the project management. So in the project management, in this process, actually we need to define those so-called the contingency plan. Okay, the contingency plan is that once we are in the designing phase, we have the initial plan. Okay, but also we should have this contingency plan to be ready. All right, something unexpected happen, adjust, or we just following the original plan after the assessment. In the next module, we will talk about controlling. Okay, so we will also get into this. But somehow in this case, they said, hey, you needed to plan first, right? During this implementation and the monitoring phase, once we have something happen, then we needed to go back to the planning phase. You needed to develop the contingency plan once we have that, issues, we have these challenges pop up. Use this diagram. I think that they just trying to, tell us like, oh, the initial plan is not working, and then we have the plan 2 or we have the plan 3. This is more belong to the, let me put this way, this is more belong to the controlling, okay? This stage, this phase.